Hey, everybody. This is Steve with the Steve and Dan Show. Welcome back. For those of you who haven't seen this before, my co-host Dan and I host this show weekly, and we have a special guest this week. It's Mr. Newman right there, John Newman, who is here with us. And we go through people's different experiences with the SFM community. For me, I'm a husband, father, entrepreneur, and I've started and grown several businesses over the years. I love doing that, but I never really got the time freedom that I was looking for. I always kind of felt like those businesses owned me, like my clients kind of ruled my life. And I was looking for something better, looking to be able to spend more time with my family, travel a bit more. I love to travel. And that's when I came across the SFM and decided to make the change and jumped into the digital world. And I'm just really glad I did. It's a great community, great experience. Dan, you want to tell us a little bit about you?
I would love to. Thanks, Steve. So I come from a background in corporate software sales, was working 70 hours per week, earning really good money, but feeling pretty unfulfilled. So same as Steve, I love to travel. There's things I want to do with my life that I couldn't do being, stuck in a corporate software sales career. Because even if you do take holiday, it doesn't feel like holiday when you have sales revenue targets to hit and your mind is always still in that zone. So I kind of reached a point where I decided I needed to change. The wake-up call that I had was that any income goal in the past had never brought me fulfillment or happiness. So why did I think that an even bigger income goal in the future was going to do that if I was still working 70 hours per week? So discovered SFM, and very, very quickly got involved, went all in to the business. And my transition has been from corporate lifestyle to life of freedom. So thank you, Steve, for the opportunity for the intro. John, would you like to give us a little bit of an introduction of your good self, my friend? I know we've met a couple of times before in Brisbane and Toronto, but tell us a bit about yourself.
My predominant background is Defence Force. So in the Australian Air Force as an armament technician, I was 14 and a half years. Prior to that, I was a butcher. So a little bit of a change up there in careers. I guess from my history, I was just going to go into a bit where I found myself in my life. I just really was unfulfilled. I literally was working in one state, my kids were in another, and my partner at the time was in a different state. And you just really started asking some good questions. And that's when I came across SFM DA online. So that's really opened the door to pretty much all the things that have changed since. And now I'm literally living the dream.
That's great. And just one thing I want to quickly point out is I'm in the U.S. Dan, you're in the U.K. or are you traveling right now?
I'm in the U.K. still, but next week I'll be in America.
Next week you'll be over here with us on the correct side of the pond.
We might go there.
And John, you're in Australia, or are you traveling? You are. Okay. And so that's something that I just love about this community is that, you're able to work with people literally all around the world and develop these friendships and business relationships that, it's just not really available in much of any other type of business. So you had a variety of backgrounds, John, a little different between butcher and I think you were in armament.
Yeah. So an armament technician. So basically someone who fixes aircraft.
Okay. So a little different there, and then coming into this, yet another transition.
Yes.
Were you apprehensive about that? Did you think it was going to be difficult? Were you worried about, do I have to learn code, or did you have any of those concerns or worries before you really got involved?
No, because a little bit different, I guess, for most people, because for me, I just knew something had to change and I was willing to do whatever it took, and whatever I had to learn, I did learn. And I guess given my background, it's not really that scary when I have to learn new stuff because that's pretty much your day-to-day job. You're always put in those situations. So it's gave me a good toolbox to use to sort of step in across to this new lifestyle. Yeah, so I was quite fortunate in that regard.
Good. I think, like you say, that's one of the key things, isn't it? If you can come into something new and realize that if you're prepared to put in the time and do the work, then anyone can learn any new skill. And it's not actually that scary as long as you improve a little bit day by day by day. One of the things, John, that I was going to ask you is you were featured in a video, I think last year at was it the Gold Convention that you?
It was, yes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, tell us a bit about that. So before you did that video, you know, what was your mindset like? And then after you did that video and after you experienced that live event, what was the shift in your mind at that point?
I guess I'd already gotten onto the idea that, you know, you had to sort of work towards your fears. So fears weren't something to be avoided. So my big main message in that was, you know, I was stepping into this whole personal journey mindset stuff, self-discovery, and I literally have worked out that, and if you're fearful of something, you have to sort of literally embrace it and just sort of step through it. Like, it's always going to pass. So the more and more I've done that in pretty much every aspect of my life, it's just allowed me to become a more confident and self-assured person, and more opportunities have been coming my way since then. So it's interesting. That video was quite a eye-opener for myself and a lot of other people too. So the guys did a really good job on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It was, I know I enjoyed watching that as well. You and I first met it was in New York over a year ago.
Yes.
And was that your first SFM event, or had you had been to other events before?
No, that was my actual first live event. So I joined January last year, and then my first event was the Momentum Day in New York.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your perception of the SFM prior to going to an event versus after? Was there a shift in how you saw the company, the organization, the community, or anything?
Yeah, there was definitely a shift, or it was more like almost like a validation or an acknowledgement of what I thought and heard about online and spoken to people was obviously cemented, you know, in my head that it was true by going to the live event. You know, there was no doubt after going to the live event that it was, you know, the way forward to change things.
Right. So really belief in the company itself at that point.
Yes.
Was there also a shift in your personal belief?
Yeah.
Like
that was on
John.
Literally, that was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah. By choosing that basically set me up to further add to my self-belief, self-confidence, because it was a big decision to do that. Like, I literally had to choose against my entire family to make that decision and spend the money and do that.
So tell us, John, a little bit more about that, because I know that family and like the decisions that we make in online business will obviously affect family, and people have different perceptions from being on the outside versus the inside. So how has that relationship with family transitioned over the now, 18, 19 months you've been in SFM?
The biggest one was my partner at the time. She was flat out against doing it. She's a very reserved, sort of conservative way of looking at things. So she wanted to do it later on after it was proven, you know, and spend the money later on down the track, not straight away at the early stage. So I'm no longer with that person. So I guess different choices, you know, have different consequences. We no longer sort of shared the same beliefs.
Yeah.
So, which turned out to be a very good thing. So, but yeah, as my family, most of my family, I don't even talk about it because it's not at their level. So you just basically just have to, not dumb it down, but they're just not open to the idea because they're set in their own ways and their own little realities.
Yeah, it's a tricky choice, isn't it, that people have to make? Because I mean, I've been fortunate in that my family, thankfully, I'm really grateful to them. They've been really, you know, supportive and on board with whatever I've done, which is great. And I know that some other people that get into this field maybe don't have that same level of support. And it does often get into that situation where I suppose it almost feels like you have to make a choice. You know, do I ditch what I want to do and ditch what I want to achieve because someone else doesn't want me to do that? Or do I turn my back on that person to an extent and do what I want to do? And it's a tricky dilemma. So what sort of advice, John, would you give to someone that is in that situation at the moment?
Basically, it's an interesting time for every person who gets to that point. So they'll either choose themselves or they'll choose basically their family to get validated. So it's basically a sink or swim moment. Like when they truly embrace that and go against their family for themselves, that's when things will open up. So basically, don't be afraid to follow your own gut in your gut, your own intuition. You know, if you get that feeling, you know, that little bit of a spark, that, you know, possibility, just follow it and basically stuff everyone else.
Stuff everyone else. I like that. I'm gonna have a T-shirt or a bumper sticker that says that.
Yes, great idea.
And what's really good is, like, you may find that you'll lose friends, and that's perfectly okay. Like, you're just changing, and they may not want to change. So you'll create new friends. Like within this community, you'll have like hundreds of friends almost all over the world. I mean, you kind of go, how did I not function like this before this? Because I've got more than friends than I ever had previously. It's crazy. And then you'll actually get other people coming into your life that, business opportunities, new friendships, partners, which are similar goals and like-minded. And next minute, it's normal to get on a whim to a 1 or 2 weeks away overseas 3 or 4, 5, 6 times a year.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, that's. I think when you make that mindset shift, you tend to want to be around people with a similar mindset, and trying to explain what you're doing to family or friends when they're not there. It's just there's no point.
That in itself takes more of your own energy, and that's less energy you've got to spend on your business. So you really need to surround yourself with like-minded people. It's that whole saying when you take the 10 closest people that you're surrounded by, and you're like, and they're pretty much the stats where you're going to be capped to as such.
Yeah.
So,
Was there a point that you can recognize where you clicked over and you said, I'm doing this no matter what? Was there a point where that happened? And can you tell us what created that tipping point for you? Was there an event, or was there something that you learned?
It was pretty much everything in my life fell apart, and I had nothing left. Like I was in a job I didn't really want to do. The relationship had ended, and I'd literally given up, but I'd given up, traded, sacrificed everything. And I'm just like, who am I? Like, what am I doing here? Like, and I just remember making that choice. Like, well, there's only one person that's going to get me out of this. I can't wait for someone to save me. You have to be your own best friend. And then it's just like, I've totally got this. And it was that when I made that decision, I still remember it driving home from work one afternoon. And since then, like, stuff just has fallen into place. That's so maybe a month later, that's when I come across the SFM on YouTube.
So you made the decision prior to finding the SFM.
Yeah.
And so the SFM then filled that desire, that hole of the decision that you made. I think you're the first person that I've had that conversation with.
Okay.
That's cool.
I'll tell you, it ties into the whole setting and intention, or putting in something out to the universe. The whole law of attraction. This is one of the things I love talking about. I've more and more you do it, the more you set an intention, you actually decide, believe to your core, shit will just turn up. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
That is so interesting, because I don't know if I've mentioned this before in any of the previous shows that we've done, but I actually handed in my notice at work before I found SFM. I found SFM during my notice period. So I'd already made the decision that I wanted to leave, and then I found SFM like 10 days later, 10 days after handing my notice in. So to hear that you've had a similar experience, John, as well, is really quite interesting. Like you say, law of attraction, we manifest what we need to fill that void in your case. So yeah, that's exciting stuff. I mean, one thing that I picked up on there was that you mentioned the moment you accepted responsibility, the moment that you decided, you know what, there's only one person that's going to get me out of this, and that is me, right? And that was, I think, from what you're saying, one of your biggest turning points. So how does life look now since that decision 18 months ago? What's the contrast when you compare then to now?
Ridiculous contrast. Like, I don't know how it can, like, I keep asking how does it get any better than this, because it's ridiculous what I've got going on. Like, I've got a pension now. I'm pretty much set for life, but that's not enough. I want more. So, and it's just pretty cool.
That's great. And you've also you've had significant changes in your personal life, and I the intent isn't here to get into every detail of your personal life.
No, but it's important to mention that. So please finish, and then I'll go on to what I was going to say.
Well, I should probably just let you talk, but without getting too much into your personal life, I know you've made significant changes, and I was hoping you'd share some of that.
Sure. Well, I've got a new partner now, and she's incredibly awesome, very like-minded. So there's that put aside. But the biggest thing is my kids. Like, I'm back in the same state. I have an ex-wife, and yeah, she's still an ex for a reason. I presume, but the easiest way of saying it. But I'm basically trying to get week about, and she's refusing that. And at the moment, I've got enough self-confidence, self-assurance, and knowing trusting myself that I am doing the right thing for the right reasons. Yeah. So, I guess long story short, we had an altercation with the police during the week that she decided to call them because, I was being a certain amount. But that whole 15, 20 minutes, I've never been so cool, calm, collected. I had nothing to hide, nothing to do. I just handled that situation flawlessly. And, the little girl my youngest was involved, but she was even happy and smiling at the end of it. I'm just like, I would have never been able to do that previously. It was a shitty situation, but it still got some really good had some really good outcomes.
That's great.
I'm not going to give in. I'm just going to take it as far as it needs to go to, give them the space that they need.
And I suppose that kind of thing, there's no amount of money that you can possibly put on the ability to be near in the same state with your daughter and be closer to a situation where you have everything that you want in your relationship with her as well. And I think that, again, that's one of the things that people talk about when they get into online business, personal development. There's all these other side effects that happen through working on yourself and your mindset. And again, it's so cool to hear about the progress that you're making to move forward in your life in all areas. So congratulations.
Another bonus on that one is the whole money thing. A lot of people fall into the trap of, not wanting to give their ex money because they'll spend it on stuff they want, not on their kids. I'm actually at the point now, it's like the best solution is just to make more money. The more money I have to give, it doesn't matter because I'm already making shit tins.
Yeah.
Making that much money now, well, I know we weren't going to cover off on it, but that mind shift in itself is quite freeing and gives a person a lot of space to not get stuck down in that nitty gritty, that whole winning and losing, but who's going to be right, who's going to be wrong.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's just, it's fascinating how it just applies to so many facets of our lives, this community and this journey that we're on. It's really cool.
Yeah, literally touches every aspect. And that's so important because we've got to have that balance. We talk about balance a lot in achieving goals and living our lives, that you've got to have that balance. You got to have focus on the things that you want to get done, but overall you've got to have balance. You can't have just one aspect of your life doing really well and the rest of it total junk.
This is like Kaizen, isn't it, Steve? I mean, you talk about that in your Kaizen course and how, like you say, you have the wheel, don't you, with the different areas of your life, and it's got to be balanced.
Yeah, or it's going to be a rough ride. So, John, what about your goals? How did you see yourself when you were you said it was the Air Force, right? Yeah. So when you were in the Air Force, how did you see your 3, 5, 10-year future goals 3 years ago versus how you see that same time frame today? Are they significantly different? How are they different?
Sorry, guys, I've got some company.
Wow. Vocal,
please,
huh?
Carry on. Yeah, she is, I think. Could be distracting. Sorry, continue.
I didn't have 3, 5, 10-year goals. I literally, for myself, I'd just given up on them. I was just lost all. I just, I was just basically looking, 6 to 12 months in advance. So, whereas now I'm I still don't have a 10-year plan, I guess. I know I should get that sort of stuff down on paper, but I'm just I'm still looking at, on a day-to-day basis, looking at what shows up, setting those intentions, but sort of not trying to define it too much.
But it sounds like you might have been more getting through the days as opposed to looking to your future.
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so now you might not be writing it down in specific detail that I'm going to have a blue Mercedes, that sort of thing. But you've got a different view of where you're going to be in 3 to 5 years, let's say.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a very different place I'm going to be. Yeah.
I suppose the key to that is, sorry, this cat in the background is going to be very distracting. I suppose
Do you have some fish in your pocket, or?
I don't know. Apparently, I'm very appealing as a person. Who knows? But yeah, you mentioned a short while ago, John, about in the money situation with your ex and shifting from a place of it's like a scarcity mindset, and saying, oh, I don't want to give money to the ex in case she spends it on herself, and then shifting to a mindset of, well, why don't I just earn more money and then I won't need to worry about it? And I suppose on the goals side, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you've gone through a similar shift from not having any focus in front of you and just sort of, focused on maybe what you're not happy with in your current situation, and then shifting that focus into what's in front of you and how you're going to work towards that. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So that mindset shift, then, obviously a major, moment in your life.
Yeah.
What other mindset shifts would you say have been one of the biggest changes that you've gone through?
That's a good question. There's so many I can pick from, I reckon. I guess I've learned so much about being more aware and just, I guess, how aware I am as a person. So I guess the education or just the awarenesses I've gained on how a lot of people function from that scarcity or that, not worthy or not good enough kind of mindset or beliefs structure. And I've switched all those over now to, and changed them myself. So yeah, there's been a lot of big shifts there on that. A lot of big shifts. I don't know if that actually answered your question, so feel free to clarify or ask another.
I think, to be fair, from what you said, I mean, I suppose it is one of those questions where it's tricky to pinpoint, isn't it? Because like we said before, it covers all areas of your life when you work on yourself. And so when you have these big mindset shifts, I suppose they do span into so many different areas that it's tricky to pinpoint a lot of the time. So no, I mean, the main reason I was asking that question was just to sort of get some insight into how it has affected other areas of your life and, what SFM has done for you. And it sounds like, again, massive improvements, massive leaps forward.
Yeah. And if it hasn't done anything directly, it's been the catalyst for the other things that I've come across and learned. So it's, it's basically that platform you use to basically redefine, change your life, give you those possibility, or give you the possibility that it is actually possible. And then you can start taking action, and the support's there for that.
Yeah. When you first came across the SFM, it was probably presented as marketing, as starting an online business.
It was, yes.
And obviously we've been talking a lot about mindset shift and perspective and that sort of thing. So originally you thought you were drawn to it because of I guess more the business side. Is that accurate?
No, that was only part of it. I was drawn to something about it. It was some energy that I was aware of, but not actually at a conscious level, perhaps. So that's where it gets really interesting. Like the idea of that, setting up an online business, that was always my prerogative, I guess, or my plan. But, I'm over 12 months into it, and, we all know where I am at the moment with it. So it's kind of very interesting. So, yeah, I'm following what I want to, and I'm having fun. So
that's great. So making that, I'm not going to say transition, but there's the business side of it and there's the mindset side of it. And mindset's critical. You got to have the right mindset. But somebody coming into this who maybe they're watching this and they know almost nothing or nothing about the SFM, what would you tell them about becoming involved in the company? What do you think they should focus on when they first become connected with the SFM?
Just go through the modules and just follow all the trainings and, build your list, basically get those fundamentals done. And if it doesn't actually fit or it doesn't feel right to them, then just follow their own intuition for what they can sort of find within their sort of the curriculum, I guess, or the different courses, because there's such a diverse, so many different diverse platforms now. Like it's not just email marketing, you can do your import export stuff and all that stuff they're continually adding to it. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of possibility and a lot of opportunities, for different things, for different people at different stages, whether you're a business or an individual. That's what I really like. So basically just make it work for you, like whatever you're trying to achieve, find the people within the community to facilitate that. Like there's no one set way of doing it. Like it's, I think that this is the way, so I don't tell them to do that, but it's another story. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great that you bring that up, because I think some people are thrown off by that because they're expecting to be told, do this, do this, do this, and you'll get this. And in a lot of senses you are, because of the way the modules are set up, but one of the things that you've got to do is decide what direction you're going to go, because it could be somebody who wants to use this training to grow an existing business, or somebody else who wants to start a marketing business, or somebody who wants to, as you mentioned, an import or export business, an Amazon type business, or physical products business, or a marketing company. Start a marketing company, grow a marketing company. It can literally be used for almost anything. So
the fundamental thing is to actually go through those basic steps and basically get money coming in. So just follow the affiliate model, and then having that money coming in, you've then got the ability and space to leave your job and then find and have the resources to basically play around with stuff and find what you truly love. Whether it's, the import export stuff, or it's, life coaching, or like whatever, like that's the beauty of it too. Like fundamentally it ticks the boxes for getting the money in the door to give you that peace of mind, to give yourself space, because we're all pretty much driven or wired that way. We have to have the money coming in. We're always chasing money to fix our problems or our situation.
Yeah. You got to have your bases covered.
Yeah. I mean, actually, to share the story a little bit more, early this year, I had no money coming in because I put myself in an overextended compromised position. And that literally just shut everything down because I had no money. I couldn't do anything. But then once I got that money ticked over and coming in, it's quite ironic how it all becomes clear again, because you've got space, because you can afford to do things. So it's vital to get that.
Good stuff. And then from that point, then, I mean, obviously we talked a lot about your transition from then to now. Curveball question. So you're a well-traveled man. What's your favorite place that you've been to in the world?
So many. I'm not going to say I like them all.
Hundreds and hundreds.
Not quite hundreds, but
I'm messing.
It will be hundreds though by the time I'm finished.
Love it. Good man.
There you go.
So no, like basically, New York was great. I love going to the Dominican Republic. London was just cool energy. So much history, and just so much history there. It was awesome to see. Yeah. So, yeah.
The best place is home. That's always the easiest answer to that question.
There you go.
The best place you've ever been is home. That way you don't piss anybody off.
I'm teetering saying, home's great, but, I just love traveling. I love going new places. Home's where heart is and my heart's here, so I can go anywhere I want and be home.
There you go.
That's a great answer. There you go. That is the answer. I go anywhere I like. Doesn't matter. Home is where the heart is. Perfect. Good stuff, John. No, that's really cool. I mean, I think you've given us a great insight into your journey. I think you've talked about some key things that are so important when you're coming into this and getting your mindset in the right place and committing, to doing it, even if there are obstacles like family or financial worries or things like that could potentially hold you back. It's the people that decide they're going to stop at nothing. They're going to do whatever it takes. Those are the people who make it. So yeah, fantastic advice there, bud. I think, Steve, unless you've got any final questions for John, anything else that you'd like to add?
Was that for me?
Yeah. Any final questions for yourself?
I'm just curious, what one piece of advice do you wish you had when you started this with this community that you didn't have, that you had to kind of figure out along the way? What's the one thing that you wish somebody had told you?
Two things. It's okay to not get it right the first time. Like, it's okay. Give yourself permission to fail. Definitely that. and trust yourself. And that includes number one as well. Like, you are going to make mistakes. That's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Like, and have fun. Just have fun with it. Don't make shit too serious, because that gets heavy and really not fun then. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Good stuff, John. Look, we appreciate you being on the show. Thank you very much for sharing your insights, your journey. Thank you for sharing, the lessons that you've learned. Hopefully someone watching this will get a lot of value out of that as well. So we really appreciate it. On behalf of myself and Steve, thank you very much for watching the Steve and Dan show. And we will see you next week. I'll be in America. Steve, you will also be with me. I will
still be in America.
You'll still be in America, but you'll be with me in America.
Yeah.
So we may do a little different format on the show, mightn't we? We're planning a couple of ideas.
Yeah. We'll see what we can pull off. I think it's going to be fun.
So stay tuned till next week, because we'll have something up our sleeves. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching. John, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks again, John.
See you next week.
No worries.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Cheers.